All right, let's talk about this Kendrick. If you want to talk about this now,
Might as well, man.
okay. So Kendrick put out a post on his Twitter, and it went to a website, and then you had to go into a folder, and then it had a document here. And actually, if you go to that website now, it's just a whole bunch of folders with nothing in them. But this actual document says PG Lang, the language enterprise, from the death of, I'm sorry, not death, from the desk of Okalama for immediate release. Los Angeles, California, April 18th, 2022. The following statement was released today by Okalama through his company PG Lang at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in Los Angeles. Album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Release date May 13th, 2022. All factual information from this release will come directly from this source only.
Hmm.
So, we're getting the Kendrick Lamar album in 2022.
That's
And sounds like the title is going to be Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. You said you were going to do some research on that Big Steppers thing. You come up with anything?
no, I didn't. I just told you his family. At least definitely, yeah, his family from Chicago. So when I heard the Big Steppers thing, I immediately thought of something live bandish, more musically driven, more frontmanish. Like you know how they used to have the old bands with the band leader. And so that was immediately my historical like take from it when I heard the title of the album. Is like, oh, is he like the band leader of the band now? Like I'm Mr. Morale and this is the Big Steppers. Or like I'm David Ruff.
Johnson Daily Sports with the super chat, man. Appreciate you. It says, my guys, again, where would y'all rank Kendrick all time if this album is at least good?
Let's start unpacking some of that.
Okay.
So, Mike, I did a playlist on Spotify.
Okay.
The day that we got the news, and it was a Remember the Standard playlist, and I picked what I felt like were the 5 strongest songs from his 4 previous projects, and I put them on a playlist. Now, here's the first thing that I'm going to tell you about where we're placing him all time. Mike, on that Spotify, we have and this is just recently what I've done. I did a Rock Him playlist, and I did a Slick Rick playlist. Classic music-wise, he doesn't even compare to Slick Rick in terms of the classic songs. And Slick Rick only released one all-time great album. Now, he does have Lottie Dottie in the show, which obviously carries big weight. But his best stuff isn't all-time hip-hop classic when it's isolated by itself in a song, with the exception of maybe about 5 to 6 songs, maybe.
I think that's an era thing. I think that, Kendrick coming up in a time where radio's not important. I think that he's not really pressured to put out singles like that. But no, I feel you. I mean, I think it's a lot. I think that's a legitimate statement.
I'm not talking about singles. I'm talking about hip hop classics.
Okay, that's fair because Mona Lisa's not a quote unquote single.
And neither is Indian Girl, Mike. You feel what I'm saying? Neither is The Moment I Feared. Neither is Treat Her Like a Prostitute. But we all
well, he has stuff that rings like that. Shout out to Jay Short real quick with the super chat. He says, "Are we sure this is a Kendrick rap album, compilation, or Love Below situation?" I was thinking that too.
I want to unpack that part of it too, but I just want to say, so we have those two. So I did the Rock Him and the Slick Rick playlist. And then I have the Nas storytelling playlist where it's just 15 Nas storytelling tracks. And I'm thinking like Nas has more classic stories maybe than you have classic like records that you've released like from these projects. And so understand that when we talk about him in the greatest of MC all-time conversation or where he ranks, most of it is because of his ability to put together albums, not even on a song-for-song basis. He doesn't have nothing that hits like It Ain't Hard to Tell or The World Is Yours. Like, he doesn't. Like, he doesn't have anything like those two records at any point where it's just like, well, that's just fucking awesome because it's awesome.
Well, we got to give credit where credit's due, right? There's not a lot of MCs all time that have 5 albums that match the level of Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, if we want to go overly dedicated, and damn,
no,
we got to give him that credit.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. No, we're saying the same thing. We're just saying it differently. When he gets spoken about in these conversations, well, really, if you look at it, well, lyrically, he's not, and he's great lyrically. Don't get it twisted. But is he like Thought, Rakim, Nas, Lupe? No. Well, song to song.
Is he not that level though?
If he is, where is he on that level? Because he's not them on that level. Because we don't have enough evidence of that. You get what I'm saying? Like at that point, it becomes, it's like, well, if he operates on that level, give me repeated evidence. Because like, I think you have albums like Follow the Leader, and it was written where it's like, well, those guys got more evidence lyrically on those albums than you may have in your whole career on a song-to-song basis, where it's like, well, why is this guy lyrically awesome? It's like, well, that record, that record, that record, that record.
I don't know, man. Kendrick got those moments too.
No. He doesn't have those moments lyrically like you think, Mike. I told you, Feel is a moment like that. He doesn't have a lot of feel moments where lyrically he just spazzes out. And you're like, man,
what do you think about Rigor Mortis?
Mike, okay, so what's the time span between when he did Rigor Mortis and when he did Feel? You feel what I'm saying?
I'm just picking stuff out of each individual album, because I could even say on Good Kid, Mad City, I could say The Art of Peer Pressure, right? He has those moments there. I could say Hood Politics on To Pimp a Butterfly.
Well, you think The Art of Peer Pressure lyrically is like an astounding moment?
He's taking it there on that, yeah. You don't think so? Ryan Gillum with the super chat, he says, I feel like we may be getting 2 albums. His first post was through TDE as the last album. Now we're getting the post at PG Lang. But I could be wrong. I might be thinking too deep. Man, if we get 2 albums, I mean, he owes us 2 albums. Now then, if we get 2 different albums, then we can start talking like, okay, top it up, whatever.
So, Mike, this is what I'm saying. So you went, what'd you go? You went Rigor Mortis, Feel. I said Feel. And we put Hood Politics, right?
I said Hood Politics. I said Art of Peer Pressure as well.
Okay, Mike, this is what I mean about how, well, he doesn't really do it like that at that level like those other guys that you think, because here's how quick I can wipe that off the board. Watch this, Mike. Can I interest you in I Gave You Power, Take It in Blood, Silent Murder, and Live Nigga Rap? That's all on one album.
You talk about Nas, man. No one's saying Kendrick is Nas.
Hold on, Mike. No. Didn't we just say lyrically he's operating in that level?
Well, you said Black Thought too. I'm talking about Black Thought and Lupe, really.
Okay, Mike, I feel like lyrically on the cool, Dumb It Down, Go Gadget flow in the coolest. There you go. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no. Those other guys. No, Mike, those guys have flexed lyrically on a level on albums like that. Like, you're bringing up songs from different points in albums, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, can he operate on that level? Yes. But has he consistently, like those other guys have? Well, no, because I can give you 4 tracks off.
You didn't see the mathematics that you were tagged in from Nostalgia on Twitter? His verse on Nostalgia? You ain't see the mathematics there?
I love the verse on Nostalgia. That's actually one of his best verses to me, Mike. His verse on Nostalgia is one of his 10 best verses, in my opinion. Just so we're clear.
Hudson says, compare Kendrick to his class.
Well, I mean,
think that's fair.
No, that's not what we're doing, because every time we're talking about him, we're talking about him all-time great. You see how when I put him in all-time great context and he starts sliding down the scale, they're like, well, compare him to his class. It's like, no, you said he was all-time great, so let's talk about this Nas, Black Thought, Rakim, Lupe shit lyrically. You feel what I'm saying? Let's not do that. Let's not switch the conversation. Y'all saying,
okay, let's just be real. Do you think he's top 10? Do you think he's top 10? He dropped something. Let's just say he dropped something damn level on May 13th. Is he top 10?
I told you, I said he needs to drop something damn level just to have himself in that conversation. So damn is the requirement, because what I'm saying is like, well, you're in this conversation because of that. Because on a lyrical level, although you are capable, you haven't proven it like those other guys have through albums, Mike. These guys have albums where they have performed lyrically on song the way that you might get a record or two from him on an album. You understand what I'm saying? So there is a difference to that, because that goes to that output again. Okay? About operating at a certain level. It's like when people are running around and they were like, well, Black Thought is lyrically better than Nas right now. And I'm like, well, yeah, look at how many more bars Nas wrote.
Right. No, I agree with that. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, right? You know, Kendrick's dropping on my birthday, so I guess that could be a birthday present to a certain degree. And it's on Pusha T's birthday. That's a whole nother subject or whatever. But based on this title and based on the approach, I'm expecting a lot of singing. And I agree with the super chat that said more love below. That's what I'm expecting from a Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I mean, from that title alone, I'm thinking like, is this a collaboration with Anderson .Paak with the Ike Turner wig? That I could see. What?
No,
I think him and Anderson .Paak would make a dope album together, but this sounds like some dancing type stuff and some singing and dancing hoedown type stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mike. That's not gonna work. So I'm gonna just try to break this down as simply as I can. Well, lyrically, he's capable of operating on that level on the mic, but really he doesn't. You don't have enough songs to say that it's like, oh, well, you're Rakim Nas. Like, no, I mean, we don't have enough songs for that. All right? That's just the fact of the matter is, song to song, Mike, he doesn't give you classic hip-hop records like other legends do. Like, he doesn't have classic hip-hop records song to song like even an Ice Cube or a Scarface do. You understand what I'm saying? Where it's like, no, that song never got released, and all of us in the rap sphere know what the song is. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Going Down off the Diary, Mike. Going Down was never an officially released single. We all know Going Down off the Diary. It's a fucking classic. He doesn't have that. What he has...
He ain't got Money Trees, though? Money Trees is a classic. It's a cult classic.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying he doesn't have these things. I'm saying in relationship to the people who are all-time great in the sphere that he keep getting cast in, the main reason he is cast into that sphere is because of the albums that he makes. Because if you're going bar for bar and song for song, he's not top 10. But if you're going album-wise, yes.
KL007, I'm sorry. Coop's analysis is valid since he's smoking on everyone's top 5. Kendrick is viewed different. If he would be viewed different if he never said that. J. Cole has the crown in that generation. And also the Control verse too, yeah.
Trying to murder you niggas, right? Like, no, you ain't murdered nobody, dude. No. Like, he hasn't been that guy lyrically. And so people need to stop taking a couple of verses off a couple of songs off each album and thinking he's that dude. Like, Rakim did more on the first 3 songs lyrically on Follow the Leader than he's done on any of his albums, Mike. Quote that shit and print it.
Madnan said something that I was just about to say, too. He said Kendrick lost his love for rap. KD off-season on the way. This is what I feel, and I brought up Andre 3000 earlier, Stankonia. You could tell when people either lose they try to say they lose their hunger for rap, or they lose they're not inspired by rap or bored with rap. I feel like that's what Kendrick is, because we haven't gotten any features. I mean, he jumped on Baby Kim. I'm sorry, I wanted to say Baby Sham, like I've been listening to Flip Mode or something. But he jumped on that record. But we see what Cole's doing right now. Cole's spreading the love. This is somebody who's really into it, who really loves what they're doing. And that's exactly why I feel like we're going to get a lot of singing on this new Kendrick album. I don't think it's going to be the rap shit. I don't think it's going to be that smoking on your top 5 shit. I think this is going to be a lot of Love Below type of artsy approach. And and like I told Coop offline, that's a cop out to me.
Yes, it is.
Because you can't be smoking on someone's top five, and you can't be, I'm gonna murder you niggas and this and that, and I'm king this, King Kendrick, whatever. And we talking about rap shit, and you go out there and do a rock and roll album or do a singy album where we can't gauge that. I'm sorry. He does a singy album like that, or something like Dance It, whatever it is. He's definitely not top 10 in my book. Trey,
Mike.
yeah, we got Trey over here with a super chat. He says, "What about Kendrick's performance on Holy Key song?" And we got AK's the Curtain says Kendrick is about to go Basquiat again, which doesn't do well for replay value, but that's just a snapshot in time. Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Have you ever fallen out of love with rap, Mike? And be honest.
Yeah, there have been times where you're uninspired, but it's not a time where you're like, I don't want to rap anymore. I feel like, and again, everybody's different. I feel like when people do that, you just ain't got no bars.
Right, so hold on.
Because let's keep it real. There's been many a times where Jay-Z probably wasn't inspired to rhyme, and he put out an album anyway. Might not have been good, but he pushed through. There were uninspired times. Same thing with Nas.
Yes.
So same thing with Black Thought. I mean, the Roots did it too.
Them last few Roots albums,
Yeah.
Mike, I'm like, oh, so y'all pushing through, huh?
Yeah. And as fans, you deal with that or whatever. But and that's a part of being great. I mean, there's been times when Stevie Wonder probably was less inspired than he was in another time, but he pushed through and made an album anyway. It happens.
It does. And so I want to speak to something. Well, and this is what I mean. Let's just give him a mulligan and say, well, you fell out of love with it, because it's like, well, I think we all have at some point. And sometimes it's for years, Mike. I can remember personally falling out of love with rap for about 3 years. It wasn't until I started loving rap again for about a year that I reached out to you, actually. Like, my heart wasn't in it on any sort of level anymore. So I understand that. But this man has had 5 years off. And I'm going to keep on saying this. No, like, this is your job. Like, this is what you're known for. This is how you're known. This isn't to say that you can't branch out and do other things. This is where and how your bread gets buttered. I'm going to go back to that Rakim interview in The Source, where he talked about the break, and he was like, at the end of the day, Ra, he was telling himself, Ra, go do your fucking job. Because he understood what his job was and who he was to the people at the end of the day. And that's kind of how it goes when you're a man and you go to work. And so, like, you don't always love going to work. And you're lucky and fortunate enough to be in a profession where you get to take years off of work. You don't get to come back out into the real world and be like, oh, I'm still out of love with it, so I'm going to give you like this singing shit and I'm still one of the greatest rappers of all time. No, like, that's that fairy tale rapper bullshit that I be trying to murder every time I get up here, because we let this kind of occur in the community and they never really come back to us, Mike. Have you seen Andre 3000 rap? Mike, you brought up Stankonia. Mike, you know the other
That was the last sighting of Andre. Well, honestly, if we keep it real, that was the first and last sighting that we got of Andre 3000, because before Stankonia, he was just Andre Benjamin. If you look in the credits, you can look in the booklets. He didn't have the 3000 moniker until Stankonia. And that was the last sighting of him as a rapper as we knew it, as an Outkast member.
I'm pretty certain them niggas went to Tri-Cities. I'm going to call him Andre.
You got to respect the name. You got to respect the name. He wanted to change his name. He changed it.
Andre, Mike, by Stankonia. Mike, I was bringing this up on the other podcast that I do here in music. Mike, he ain't been rapping since Stankonia, really. And wasn't barely rapping on there. and we just kept on letting it pass
Mm-hmm.
and letting time pass. And it's like, no, he's great. Let him do his thing. It's like, no. Like, what is he great for? Rapping.
What's his best verse on Stankonia, in your opinion?
Mike, does he have a great verse on Stankonia?
He
Is the
does.
question.
He does.
It's
He has
probably the
three, I
questions.
think.
Mike,
Three or four.
The questions would probably be the best verse, Mike. Like, if we're just talking.
I thought you might have gone there. I think that Humble Mumble was his best verse on Stankonia. To Democratic Republic, fuck it, we chicken nugget, we dip in the sauce like mop and bucket, blue collar scholars who take your dollar, wipe my ass with it, living for the lotto, never hit it. I met a critic, I made her shit a draw. She said thought hip hop is only guns and alcohol. Said, oh hell no, but yet it's that too. You can't discriminate because you done read a book or two. What if I looked at you in a microscope, saw all your dirty organisms living in your closet? Would I stop it? Would I pause it? And put that bitch in slow motion, got the potion and the antidote and the quote for collision. The decision is, do you want to live or want to exist? The game changes every day, so obsolete are the fists and marches. Speeches only reaches those who already know about it. This is how we know about it. It's a great verse.
It is, Mike. Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
This is what I mean about going to work. Do you want to know why that verse is so great, Mike? Do you want to know why the verses that he does on there are like great? Because he doesn't hardly do any.
Right, no, that's part of it.
No, Mike, like, you're not rapping on there. When he's rapping, it's like, oh man, he's great. It's like, okay.
That's not like he got two more verses like that on the same song.
Like, okay, there's like 17 songs. We just got 3 great rap verses, and we let it slide because those verses are great. You get what I'm saying?
No, you're right. We're just happy that he showed up.
Right, we're so happy that he showed up. It's like, no, nigga, keep showing up and showing out. This is your job. If you want to take on a different job, show us that you are great at that other job. Because here's the thing about it, Mike. Do you see any reunion tours for the Love Below, or do you see reunion Outkast tours?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even tour the first time for Love Below. Shout out to Jay Short with the super chat. He said, we need to start calling out folks on this I've graduated from rap nonsense. YouTube, Bono, Marvin Gaye, they never got tired of their genre or felt like they were above it. You know, I think that Marvin Gaye is a really good example because there's many times where he could have said he graduated from R&B. He just kept elevating R&B. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never said, I'm bigger than R&B. I'm gonna be a rock star, this, that, and the third. Even though he had the talent to do so, he just kept elevating R&B, and you know there wasn't a what's going on in R&B. He didn't sit there and label that something else.
I don't think Stevie Wonder or Bob Marley have ever even made an album with the intention of it having a popular or widespread appeal, even though that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing in the fundamental bones of any of their projects that I've heard speak to that. Nothing.
KL007 says, y'all need to do a top 5 most disappointing rappers. Cats who didn't reach their potential, like Fab, Lupe, Cannabis, Big Sean, Joel Santana, all fell off, in my opinion. It's an interesting opinion.
Lupe fell outside right now. I don't know. I wouldn't say that necessarily about Lupe right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Lupe is somebody who's really been lurking in the shadows lately. Mike, he's like, oh, you want to rap? Hold up. What you say? What you say about rap, nigga? Right.
Lupe.
Right.
Lupe goes to work. He just, he just got tired of the major label push.
I think he's somebody, Mike. A classic album would do him great measure.
And I think he can do it. He's at a skill level that I think he's at a higher skill level than he's ever been currently. I mean, somebody said on our other show that he made Royce hang up the mic for a second.
You can argue that his skill level on a lyrical basis, just bar for bar, is as high as we've seen somebody operate. You can make that legitimate argument about how insane lyrically he rhymes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's clear.
His brain moves very different.
Yeah, he's a different type of cat. So like lyrically, he's somewhere very few people have been, if ever, in terms of what he's capable of pulling off. Yes.
Now, this is what I did want to say. Okay, and we'll get back to Kendrick because I think this is still quote unquote on topic. I think the Miss Jackson verse is great from Stankonia, right? So I think Miss Jackson verse is great. That's a great verse. I think it's masked in a song that was a big single that I'm not a big fan of that song. It's probably, in my opinion, Outkast's, I won't say weakest single because it was big, but it's the single from them that I like the least, right? Other than The Whole World. I hate The Whole World. I'm sorry. But
I
it's
don't
a
hate
great verse. It's a great verse. So, okay, let's say that
it.
verse, right? Humble
I agree.
Mumble. I think that Bonds Over Bad Dad verse is great. Um,
Gangsta shit.
I was thinking that too. That's 4. I think his parts on Red Velvet are great, but it's like they're not full out verses like
I
that.
don't. I don't like Red Velvet, and I
Why
don't
don't
like
you
this.
like Red Velvet? I think that's one of
I,
the strongest songs on the album.
oh, I totally disagree. So that's no, I totally disagree. You like Red Velvet?
How can you measure a nigga by multiple figures? He made God. How did he not purchase the newest Mercedes to lose his value soon as you drive that bitch off the lot? That's very Kendrick, by the way. Will
So
he
I'm
still
gonna
be the
tell you
ladies
the
most
real.
wanted? Don't go that you want it. He got it type. I get it.
The thing with Stankonia is that it's not concise, and that's one of those songs where I can hear the drift. And I hate to say it like this, you hear the drift on the songs where it seems like Andre's the inspiration as opposed to the one where Big Boy is. Like, you can tell Big Boy's the inspiration behind Miss Jackson and So Fresh, So Clean, and therefore, because he's the fundamental root and basis of the song has more weight. All that Dre shit on the album riffs, and it doesn't feel
What
as
do you feel
connected.
about Dre's? What do you feel about Dre's verse on Gasoline?
Mm-mm.
You didn't like that verse? All of my heroes did dope. Every nigga around me playing married or paying child support. I can't cope. Never make
Okay.
no sense to me. One day I hope it will, and that's that. That
Right.
verse is
So,
kind of
so
dope.
no, that's the sign of a nigga who's not rapping the way that he used to. Because go listen to his verses at the start of Southern Playalistic on my intro to let you know. 2 dope boys in a Cadillac and Return of
Return
the
of the
Gangster, and
Gangster.
tell me that that's the same level to start off an album. Facts. He not rapping like that, and you can hear it from the get go. You making my point?
Okay. No, but
Yeah,
honestly, that's exactly how I felt when I first heard Stankonia.
Because it's true, he's not rapping at the same level because he's not really rapping anymore because he think he too good to rap at the end of the day, or he doesn't like being classified as a rapper. That's what that whole Humble Mumble verse is about.
Yeah.
He's pretty much talking about, oh, I don't like being classified as this quote unquote rapper. Let me talk about it. He's feeling some
Hip
type of
hop
way.
is guns and alcohol.
Right. I said, oh, hell no. But yet is that too. You can't discriminate because you done read a book or two. It's like, nigga, why don't you keep on rapping and prove her wrong?
Shout out to Nas the GOAT with the super chat. He says, Kendrick Lamar is definitely on the Mount Rushmore for this generation. For me, it's Lupe, Cole, Kendrick, and Wale. That's interesting. Kendrick maybe a top 15 or maybe top 20 all time. And you know, the thing is, man, what Kendrick has in his favor, and I'm going to go to Ryan Gillum in a second. He says, Lupe is the only MC that I know who will literally tweet a whole freestyle on Twitter and then battle somebody in the Twitter freestyle. Yeah, Lupe's super skilled. This is what Kendrick has going for his catalog, his lyrical ability bar for bar on a mainstream level in relation to his peers.
Yes.
And he also has this fanfare success. So when we talk about him in the scope of top 15, top 20 all time, and some of those names that are mentioned there, he shakes up things in the whole entertainment industry in ways that a lot of the people who might be put before him don't and never did. And so that's kind of what he has going for him. Like you said, his shortcomings are singles. Let's just say it like that.
No, Mike.
And I don't even want to say singles. Classic songs, I guess.
Classic songs. I don't
Standalone songs.
Standalone songs. You know,
because that's what Drake has over him.
It is. Well, here's the thing about it. You know who else kind of has it like that? And they're from the 90s, and we didn't talk about it. And this is probably where I would kind of place him more now looking at it. This is how I feel about Redman sometimes. And this is why it's like, no, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just giving it some context.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Red, lyrically, great. First of all, I think Redman lyrically is better than Kendrick. Let's get that out the way. Because Redman has more depth-defying mic performances, in my opinion, and it's not even a question of that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But really, When you look at why Red got respected, it's because he was respected lyrically for his era, the same way that Kendrick was respected, Mount Rushmore-ish. Like, I can remember the source being like, if we're doing a starting five of MCs from the 90s, Redman's on the team, and it doesn't matter who the other four guys are. That's who Redman is. And think about this. That's Tupac. Think about this. That's potentially Tupac, Nas, Big, you know what I'm saying, and Jay. And you're not getting any Wu-Tang members or any Southern members or any West Coast members. They're saying Redman is lyrically right there. So he's high. But Mike, it's really his albums, because much like Kendrick, it's like, well, Redman had a nice little album run. What the album? There's a Dark Side. Muddy Waters. Doc's the Name. Those are all great projects. There's not no whack album in there. All those albums are dope as fuck, Mike.
Oh, no, you're right.
Classics in, you know? But really, when you start basing it out over time and you go back and listen to those albums, it's like, well, where do those four dope-ass albums rank in the all-time canon of great music? Right. How often do you play those albums?
That's legit.
No disrespect. These are comparable feelings that I have about Kendrick, and people are like, I'm being disrespectful. It's like, nah. How am I being disrespectful when I think, Mike, the last time I did a list, I had Redman at like 12 all time with the things that I'm saying, like 12 or 13. You know what I mean? And so I would probably respectfully put him more in that realm of probably 15 to 20, you know, somewhere around where I would probably have Redman right now. Like Redman's always been 10 to 15 to me, and he would probably still be probably 15, and I would put Kendrick somewhere around in that area. And that's not disrespectful. Because what I'm not about to do after 5 years of you taking a break is, because here's what happens over time, Mike. We've had 5 years for his songs to become classic. They haven't. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think there was any question. I don't think there was any question of what song he was going to perform at the Super Bowl.
Right.
There was no debate. It was all right.
Like, how many of these songs have like lore and become more classic as time goes on? Because that's the mark of it.
Yeah.
Like, the songs kind of get greater in your absence. It's like, man, I ain't heard dude in a while. Play that such and such, and you have records to go to. Part of why we're waiting for his album so much is, Mike, because we don't have those classic songs to hold on to like that. That's why Good Kid, Mad City is so special. And so if you really want to break it down, he's done things on his albums that are special. Section 80 has a great feel. All right? Good Kid, Mad City has great songs. To Pimp a Butterfly is conceptually great. Yep. Mike, on Damn, he's great. His best mic performances are on Damn. He's the show on Damn. He's great on Damn. But Mike, never all those things at once for one album. So he has no Illmatic. He has no Life After Death, Reasonable Doubt. Like, no, it's not like that. It's more like Redman's career was. It's like, was it a classic? It's like, yeah, but it's like, where is his highest classic? Probably somewhere where Muddy Waters is.
I mean, are we saying that because, you know, we've lived through different hip-hop generations, and you even said it yourself, there was a time when you fell out of love with hip-hop. Do you think that that's happening because, or you feel that way because that he was coming out with efforts during a time when you weren't in love with hip-hop in that way?
No, actually, if you really want to be more accurate, I mean, if I can be more accurate about it, he's one of the guys that kept me kind of in that time when I was out of love. And I gravitated to him super, super hard because of that. Him and Cole were the main guys that I followed when I was out of love with it, because they kind of kept me like, you know.
Well, this is the thing, too. And when you said that, and people talking about Kendrick being out of love with hip-hop, this is a wild time to be out of love with hip-hop between 2018 and now, because there's a lot of really good hip-hop going on. Because Kendrick's going to be 35 years old in June. So he came up in an era, honestly, that was weaker than what this era is. So if he came up in the 2000s, and let's just say he came up listening to 90s music when he became of age, because maybe he had, like, you know what I'm saying, some older siblings or older people around that was playing him that. How could you listen to hip-hop and be a part of hip-hop from 2018 to 22 and say you're not inspired? Because we've seen artists that came from that 90s era get reinvigorated during this era because of the shit that's coming out. I mean, honestly, the content that we've been able to create has been so dope because of what's been coming out. So what's not to be inspired by? I just think you ain't got no bars, Kendrick. I
So
say that respectfully.
no. So let's say it respectfully. Okay. So listen to what I'm about to say. How can we have him top 10 when somebody like KRS-One, Mike, who lyrically
Yeah.
has been putting this shit down, Mike, since you and I were in grade school, this guy has been rhyming at an all-time great level lyrically, and he just dropped another stellar project this year. And when we do most of these lists, Mike, he falls on the back end of our 10. How can we put this guy in the top 10 ahead of Chris?
I agree with that. It's just a bad look when you go out there, saying you're this and that, and then when the game gets competitive, you're ghost.
Right. No, when it got competitive, he took his ball and he went home. And it's like, if you're back outside, prove it and don't sing and rap. Because I'm going to tell you outside right now, some of the all-time greatest MCs of all time, Mike, KRS-One and Nas are outside right now. Come on. Are they not outside right now?
They are.
If he's all-time great, come bring your ass outside. And make something comparable to Magic. Like, if this album's not comparable to Magic, it's like, I don't want to hear no top 10 talk out of him. Because Nas is at the start of our list, Mike. Where's KRS-One on your list all time, Mike?
I mean, he has to be a top 10 MC. I don't think there's any way to have KRS outside of top 10 contention.
So I'm going to tell you where I have him, Mike. I have him at 8. I got Nas.
And a lot of that for me is personal preference. But if we talking about by the book and what a person's done, impact, beginning to end, and all that, it has to be.
Yeah. Right. It don't matter what book you write in hip-hop.
Because even if you talk, like, I personally like Ice Cube more than KRS, right? But I don't know if I could rank Ice Cube more than over KRS.
Mike, you know who I have at number 9, right?
Cube?
Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel the same way you do. I actually prefer Ice Cube, listening-wise, than KRS. But when I'm looking at it, and when I really listen to it, it's like, well, no, I listen to KRS-One about as much as I listen to Ice Cube. And KRS-One is the better MC, been here longer, and has more classic material as a group and solo artist, and more classic songs. And so if guys like KRS and Ice Cube are backing up our top 10, and guys like Ghostface and Scarface are in the middle, and Rakim and Jay and Nas and Big and Pac are at the top, you all explain to me how he is top 10, because I said, Mike, he was going to be top 10 based on my projection of what I heard on Damn, and that was me putting him at 10. That was me putting him at 10 based on Damn 5 years ago.
And that was the notion that you would think, if you were asked during the time when you wrote that Damn article in 2017, how many albums do you think that Kendrick's going to have, or how much quality material, much more quality material, you think he's going to have in 2022?
At least
you would have said at least 2 or 3 projects.
I would have said 2 albums.
Yeah.
Just more respectfully for his process.
Yeah.
And also, too, and I want people to understand this, too, and this is where the branding of it comes into play, and I keep going to the music and the whole classic song thing. I kind of gave reference to it earlier, Mike. I misspoke when we were talking about the Mona Lisa, and I brought up the Orsay Art Gallery instead of the Louvre. You want to know why? Because the Louvre has the name, because that's where the Mona Lisa is. The Orsay is the better art gallery to go to in Paris. Sometimes the name isn't everything, Mike. The Orsay is the art gallery to go to in Paris, not the Louvre. I was in the Louvre and I was like, okay, it's a bunch of pictures of Napoleon pretty much, murdering his country off. The Mona Lisa, I'm out. The Orsay is the art gallery's art gallery or an art lover. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of the time, Kendrick gets this Louvre museum branding, and I'm just like, oh no.
Well, he's an Interscope artist, you know?
Right, like, but the better shit might be, up the street and around the corner with the lesser name.
Listen, this is the thing, man. When it comes to Pusha T's album Friday, we know we're going to get some rap shit.
Yeah.
And I know people are in the chat saying that, you guys don't know what the Kendrick album's going to sound like. So, get off the singing stuff. But the thing is, we don't have anything to go on. And honestly, the only thing we have to go on is the title. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but does that sound like a rap album to you guys? There were rumors out there that he was going to do a rock and roll album.
Let's keep it rapping wise, Mike.
Okay.
Rapping wise, Mike. I just went through 9 MCs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring up Jadakiss. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't bring up Cool G Rap.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's like, no, like we're not just handing you anything anymore. We're not handing you nothing because you're a great album maker. Because even with that being said, it's like, well, the reality of the matter is like, I don't know if you're even a better album maker than Scarface or Ghostface. They stayed at this and kept giving us quality material. I don't know if you're even a better album maker than Nas or Jay, because quite frankly, they've released so many projects and they have more great albums. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to put in the work. Like, we can't just hand this to you like you just got this in a landslide. It's like, you're not Rakim or Nas on the mic. You don't make classic songs like Slick Rick. You're not, you get what I'm saying? Like, well, what are you? You're not KRS-One in terms of your longevity or your consistency. You get what I'm saying, Mike? You're not Jadakiss in the verses now, are you? You gonna run
he
like
has
that?
catalog over Jadakiss.
No, Mike. What I'm talking about though is like that's all he has. We keep going to this. It's like I don't know if that's enough to get you in the top 10 anymore, fam. Like because your catalog was what was holding you, and you caused your catalog. That was your weight in the game.
Yeah.
You don't take a big chip off the table.
No, you're right. Because it's kind of like Scarface, right? Like Scarface's weight in the game was his consistency in his catalog, and he never let up.
And he never let up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Because the strongest point for Kendrick was his catalog. Because honestly, let's keep it real. Kendrick's feature game ain't that crazy.
No.
Like if we look at what Cole's doing right now on a featured level, he is killing what Kendrick's done feature-wise. It could be argued that sometimes when Kendrick gets on a song, it kind of makes it worse. Like, I think Goosebumps with Travis. The song's better without him. I remember when he got on the Mask Off remix with Future. It's not good. And these are songs that are already, like, bangers. So... with that being said, though, yeah, his strength is definitely in his catalog. And just like Scarface, I think his strength is in his storytelling and his catalog. And I think Kendrick's a very underrated storyteller. He's a great storyteller. But the thing is, he has to keep those things up to keep that.
Hold on. So let's stop right there. You brought up Scarface, and this is what I'm saying about how well, no, y'all keep talking about the Louvre. Let's talk about the Orsay. Is he a better storyteller than Scarface?
No. I'm listening to one of the chats.
Does he have a better voice than Scarface?
No.
Is he more consistent than Scarface?
Can't say that with a 5-year break.
Right. Mike, does he have a better album catalog?
But he was very consistent before the break.
But we're talking about reality, not fantasy world about what he could do. We're talking about what he didn't do. So does he have a better catalog than Scarface? But people talk about him like he's greater than Scarface. He's not.
Does he have a better catalog than Scarface? I don't think so, but I could understand how somebody could come to that conclusion.
Well, Mike,
based off of the because he never missed.
Right, but Mike, Scarface never missed. That's what I'm trying to say. Is it's like, well, I got a guy that made like I don't know about 12 or 13 albums that never missed. So fuck your 4 albums that never missed, nigga. Like straight like that. It's like because then when you start elevating, and this is what I mean, you start changing the narrative and putting people like Kendrick over Scarface, and that's not okay. Scarface has Mr. Scarface is back. He has The Diary. He has Untouchable. He has The Fix. He has Made. He has Emeritus. He has Deeply Rooted. He has My Homies. You better stop fucking playing with me. 4 albums. Right. You see what I'm saying? Now you better stop playing with me when Face got a catalog like that. And the catalog is your claim to fame.
It is.
So everybody like keep this energy. I'm gonna keep this energy. He blew this energy. His strength was his album making.
It was. Because, you know, the guys I got this shirt on for right now, man, Run DMC, where they lacked in quote unquote, you know, lyrical miracle stuff, these guys got bangers. They got songs. And not a lot of people got, you know what? We was talking, I think we were talking about duos or whatever, top groups. And I said, like, look, man, if anybody, even some of the groups that we put above Run DMC on the technical level, they're not gonna see Run DMC in the verses.
They don't
That's a
want that.
group that anybody getting the verses with them is probably not gonna happen. But y'all don't
Oh,
want to
Mike.
see Run DMC in the verses.
Mike, I forgot about Last of the Dying Breed. You see how much dope ass Scarface albums are out here? I have to go remind myself, and I'm a hardcore fan because all he really does is make dope albums every time, every single time he comes out since 1990.